YouTube out community, AC/DC fans, random people on the internet. My name is Giggens, and we're here today to talk about AC/DC's soundtrack album, Who Made Who, released in May of 1986. Released as the soundtrack album to Stephen King's movie Maximum Overdrive, this record features 3 brand new songs written exclusively for the record and for the movie, and a handful of other greatest hits, if you will. By 1986, AC/DC and their record sales, some people would say they were a bit of a decline at this point. Fly on the Wall came out, and it didn't really perform the way their previous records had sold. The golden days of Back in Black and For Those About to Rock were definitely behind them at that point. And put it this way, Fly on the Wall sold 1 million copies, which these days is like amazing. If you can sell 1 million copies these days, you're doing something really great. But back in the 80s, 1 million sales was good, but like so many people sold so many more records back then because that's how you listen to music. You bought the album. There was no internet. This is what you did. To put it in perspective, this album sold 5 million copies. And part of it has to do with the fact that, it's got other hits on here. You've got You Shook Me All Night Long, Flows About to Rock, Hell's Bells. You've got some older stuff on here. But you've also got a really, really great new title track in Who Made Who. And the whole movie is about like machines and trucks and, making technology. And this song reflects that. It's about making technology, from a human making technology, and then technology becoming this thing we worship. And it's like, well, who made who? Did I make you? Did you make me? What are we doing here? The single itself peaked at number 16 on the UK chart, so it was their first top 20 placement in years for a single. Number 33 in the US, which is still really respectable for a hard rock band. And the video was played on MTV constantly. I love the feel of this song. It's always sounded futuristic, and it could be because they reference video games and, multiplayer functionality of the video game, which at the time would have been like a really, modern sort of thing to sing about because video games were so new in the 80s. So to have a cool sounding song sing about video games must have already perked up the ears of a lot of people who are like, well, I love video games, so AC/DC singing about them. That's pretty darn cool. Angus doing the double tapping thing was new at the time for him. The production on this song is so clean and crisp and clear, but it's got a good punch to it. But it's got this beautiful, memorable chorus. It just feels like something you have heard 1 million times, and it works so well. And I feel like Who Made Who, the album, but also the title track, doesn't get the credit it deserves because really, this song brought them kind of back under the charts, or back into the public conscious, if you will. This album sold so much better than Fly on the Wall did, leading into their next album, Blow Up Your Video, which did very well for itself, and then getting even bigger on the razor's edge. So I really attribute their commercial success to Who Made Who, because it really did get them back in the momentum that they had known for years before Fly on the Wall. DT is the first instrumental track that we reach on this album, and it's always weird to see DT, Malcolm Young, Angus Young. It's there's no Brian Johnson on here because obviously he didn't sing on it, but it would have been really cool to see what they could have done as a full band to flesh these songs out. But DT and Chase the Ace, they're really meant to be background music. They're meant to just be played in the movie at some point and not take away from the scene. And good background music does that. It adds to the element, the feel, the vibe, of the tone of what's happening, but it doesn't steal the show. Songs that are meant to steal the show let you know they're stealing the show. You can think of so many movies where a song is played and you remember that scene because that's the point. Good background music doesn't want to do that. It just adds to the atmosphere of what's happening. But DT itself is a really cool, sly guitar riff and really good solid drums. I like when things kind of get together with all the band members and they kind of cut out here and there. Angus does some excellent soloing on this track. But it would have been really cool to see if they fleshed it out a little bit more to see what Brian could have added to it, because on the surface, it doesn't really go anywhere. It's just kind of a jam. And so is Chase the Ace, but like, it's a jam. They have a riff, they nail it, they do it over and over again, the song ends, but it's a lot of fun. Chase the Ace is the other song on this record meant for the movie, recorded specifically for the album and the film. This one's interesting because I feel like the riff itself starts off a little, I want to say almost weaker, but then you get Angus doing some really cool guitar work with bends and tricks and just different stuff he doesn't normally do. And you gotta remember too, this is the 80s. This is the peak hair metal era. This is when everybody with a guitar wants to be Eddie Van Halen and just shred like crazy, do all these tricks. And Angus was already an amazing guitar player at this point. So I think he was kind of jumping in to see like, okay, I could do that stuff too. Here's a little taste of that. Um, the song itself, as expected as it sounds, and as you know what you're gonna hear from an AC/DC song, it's also kind of comforting because you're getting what you want. There's a little flavor of new stuff, but there's a lot of flavor of current stuff and what you're into, and the production is there, so it sounds fresh and modern, but it also sounds like AC/DC at the same time. The rest of the album, I'm not going to go into the track reviews for those songs. I'll do those on the respective albums they come from. You Shook Me All Night Long was reissued as a single, hit the top 50 or just outside of the top 40, I think, in the UK. Sink the Pink and Shake Your Foundations got saved from Fly on the Wall, which are both awesome songs. Ride On dates back to the late 70s with Bon Scott, which is really cool. So you have like pretty much every band member from AC/DC playing on this album at the same time, which is really, really awesome. Hell's Bells is on here, and then the end of the album with For Those About to Rock, We Salute You. So you definitely, if this was like your first AC/DC album, it would have been really cool because you've got like a mixture of probably the new single you heard on the radio, which you loved, Who Made Who, and you also really liked You Shook Me All Night Long. Oh, there's a video for that now too. That's cool. What's Right On? Huh, don't recognize that one, but the singer sounds different. Sink the Pink and Shake Your Foundations. Oh, was that from that last album that came out? So they really cover the early 80s well. It's just a fun listen, it works really well on its own for being a really short album. It gets the point across. I love the layout on this thing. The back pictures look so cool of them playing in concert. The front cover is one of my favorite AC/DC album covers. It just looks so rad. And this record itself is in really nice shape. Let me show you the label here. Just your simple 80s Atlantic record label. It's really hard to give a record like this a proper numerical review because like it's meant to be something else. It wasn't specifically designed to be a new album. It's a collection of songs for a movie soundtrack. And on that front, if you want to just accept it for what it is, I'd probably give it like a 6 or a 7 out of 10 because Who Made Who is a really great AC/DC song that sadly I don't think gets its due. So if you haven't heard it, I highly recommend checking it out and watching the video. The video is really cool too, but it kind of plays as a small greatest hits album for a band that's never put out an official greatest hits. This works. They would repeat the process again with the Iron Man soundtrack years later, or Iron Man 2, I think it was, but no new songs for that record. But it works. So because we've heard everything else on here, the other saving grace is Shake Your Foundations is a new remix. Brian's vocals are raised up, and the music's a little, how should I put this, chopped up. So the drums come in a little bit differently. It's a different take, if you will. It's like an alternate take, but it works really well. So I'd probably give this thing a 6 or a 7 out of 10, purely because we have all these songs already. And if I'm basing it on the new material alone, it's 2 instrumental tracks, which are good. They're not going to blow your mind, but they're just fun to hear. But Who Made Who steals the show, so probably 6 or 7 out of 10. Let me know what you guys think. Anyways, my name is Giggens. This has been AC/DC. Who Made Who? Who Made You? Who Made Who? Thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Happy to chat about it with you guys. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.